week. This week, there's a summit going on in Tirana in Albania, and Keir Starmer's gone out there, as indeed has Harry Cole, political editor at The Sun, who's in Tirana for us right now. Harry, very good morning to you.
Morning, Mike. It's very sunny here.
I was going to say, how are things in Tirana? It looks like a nice part of the world.
It is. I don't know why everyone wants to leave it. It's actually it's actually glorious. No, lovely sunny weather, lovely good, nice local wine, good food. It's I don't know what the fuss is about.
Yeah, absolutely right. I was saying earlier that Keir Starmer was looking for a third place, like a hub to take people. He's hoping that the Albanians will go along, but they've had deals offered like this to them before. The Italians have been trying to do a deal. Piece you wrote this morning says that's been bogged down with difficulty. So how is this deal going to be structured, would you think?
Well, that is the $1 million question. I think it's Keir Starmer, Mr. Human Rights, isn't going to do anything that is deemed illegal,
right.
Anything that seems to break international law. So it's looking for a way around that. The Italians have a deal where they send failed asylum seekers here. They've sent about 50 so far. And it's looking like a situation probably like Rwanda would have ended up in if it had been carried on, where some international court is about to order them to bring them back. So it's a bit of a farce. So everyone's looking at Italy and seeing how it's going, whether it works and whether there is potential there. It might not just be Albania, it might be slightly wider, the region. But it's certainly something the government are looking at, but it's very much looking at it in the view that it has to be legally watertight, or Keir Starmer won't touch it.
I was hoping he might have started with removing some of those Albanian criminals in our prison system. Now that we've got a prison crisis going on apparently as well, and they're letting loads of people out, he could have taken a load of Albanian prisoners with him, couldn't he?
Yeah. So the Albanian prisoners and criminals are, a significant number of them in UK jails. A lot of them have been sent back. They did strike a deal with Albania. The last government, Rishi Sunak had. So 95% of the Albanians who've crossed over do get sent back automatically now, because essentially they have a deal that if you are Albanian and you land in Britain, you try to claim asylum or you try to come here, you just get sent back to Albania immediately, which is a very effective deterrent. And actually numbers of Albanians crossing illegally into the UK is actually significantly down. Yeah. So more of that would be good, but it's a very tricky situation. Obviously, he's here. Prime Minister's here as the first British Premier to ever visit Albania, actually, and he's having chats and talks today with the Albanians. And tomorrow, the wider European community, this thing called the EPC, which Macron set up, and actually Liz Truss signed us up to in one of the brief moments of her premiership, which is the EU plus. It's the EU plus to the people in the EU's orbit, like the UK, like Albania, like other Balkans countries. So I think migration's on the agenda for that as well. So I suspect today they'll be teeing up what they want to discuss, and then obviously the Europeans are coming to London on Monday. So for all the illegal migration chit chat that they're having here at the back end of this week, next week they're back onto legal migration, because before the EU will sign anything up, like a defence deal or relaxing trade on goods, they're going to insist that Starmer agrees to take tens of thousands of younger Europeans, under 40s, like myself, Mike.
Not for long.
Under 40s who would be essentially returned for free movement to allow them to work and study in Europe. Brits would be able to go to Europe, but as we found out, when we were members of the European Union, it's much more of a one-way street if people wanted to come here. Yeah. And as we found out, 6 million Europeans settled, and they only realised that 3 were there. So when they start talking about small limited numbers and things, red flags should be waved.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just seeing that Italy and Denmark are also kind of conspiring together to try and get the EU to reshape the ECHR and to take less notice of it, basically, effectively saying it's no longer fit for purpose when it comes to immigration in Europe.
Well, listen, look, everyone's has the same problems. This isn't a unique problem to Britain. Yes, we have the unique situation of the Channel, and obviously the visual element of that, of the sort of complete incompetence and impotence of the government, that they're unable to stop people sort of breaking into the country across the Channel. But every country's facing this issue of surging migration and what to do about it. And they're all confined and caught within the bounds of legislation and treaties that were written for a different age. The UN Refugee Convention, written in the 1950s, the ECHR, was written in one sense, after the Second World War, but it's been a sort of evolving, emerging, sort of almost organic, living, living mantra that has just got more and more complex. And so I think actually across Europe, look at what's happening in France, look what's happening in Germany, a tilt towards the right, look what's happening in Scandinavia. These questions need to be answered. And I think the easiest and quickest way to do it is for people to work together, and that's how it's going to happen. The Italians, have no truck with the ECHRs. We mentioned earlier, they're getting bogged down on things they're trying. So I think a tipping point is being reached where eventually even Mr. Human Rights, even left-leaning Labour Party are going to have to say, look, you know what, this is nuts. Let's sort this out. But Starmer will only get involved if it is in conjunction with other people, and he'll only get involved if it's to the letter of the law. So, but I suspect that's going to put him in a tricky bind, because it's ironic, really, that this man that has been made his name and made his career as a human rights lawyer is going to have to be the one that starts tackling and breaking down human rights laws in this country. So whether he's got the stomach to do it, well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't been a great week for him. I mean, I don't know if you saw Prime Minister's questions yesterday, but when he was rather rude to Liz Saville-Roberts from Plaid Cymru, who asked him a question about whether he keeps any of his actual beliefs longer than, a day in Downing Street, Angela Rayner's face when he answered her was really a picture. Clearly, she's not keen on the immigration policy that he's announced, and she's not keen on him talking to women like that.
No, exactly. Look, both figures today, I think, will come as some relief. Obviously, I think the trade deal with India was, had its moments, had its ups and downs. The US stuff, I think they'll be very pleased with. But look, he's in a tricky spot, and he's got MPs who are looking to Angela Rayner, MPs that are looking at their seats and thinking, what was the point of this massive majority if we're not going to do all these nice left-wing things? Instead, we're going to have to do all these horrible, mean things about immigration. And I suspect he's going to have a bit more rebellion. He's got a few rebellions on his hands already on benefit reforms and the like. He's finding it tough.
Absolutely. One final question from Kev, who's asked me to ask you this. Has Harry tried the chicken nuggets yet? He says.
I haven't tried the chicken nuggets, but I will report back whether they are sufficient for criminals' children to eat.
Excellent. Great stuff. Well, listen, thank you very much indeed, Harry. I know you're a busy man. Appreciate it. Harry Cole there, this goes with The Sun, live from Tirana.